Hello, I'm Banu Ramamurthy, the CTO at Solunus. We are a Salesforce partner. I'm speaking today with Michael Morell. Uh, he's the Director for Internal Systems at ECI Software Solutions. Uh, Michael is a trailblazer in his own right. He's also achieved Ranger status. Um, Thank you, Michael, for taking the time to speak with me today at our offices here in Irving, in Texas. Can you share a little bit about your role at ECI? What your responsibilities are, what you're accountable for in
Yeah,
your current
sure. So
role.
I was hired 3 years ago and recruited in to take on the director of internal system operations role, which primarily is the chief Salesforce architect. ECI really didn't have any kind of single direction in the business, so I was brought in to provide that role and that direction to then take all of the business process, take our Salesforce instance that frankly, they were about ready to ditch. It was too unmanageable because they had so many conflicting processes and such built in, and really right size that and rip out things that needed to be ripped out. And my job is basically to say no to everybody now for all the new features they want to add that's specific to one division, and really work with Solunus a lot on revising all of the existing logic that's in the system.
Oh, great. So, bringing in a lot of best practices, rationalizing the functionality so that it's consistent across all of your One question I had around managed services, Michael, is traditionally, managed services has been looked at as a, lights on activity, especially in, when you look at Salesforce or a typical SaaS product like Salesforce, people think, oh, it's all on the cloud. There's nothing to manage. So it's, should be really easy. So can you speak a little bit as to the role of managed services?
Yeah, so I think Salesforce is not unique, but they do have a more unique approach in that I think there's a very strict upgrade schedule that's only been interrupted once in 2020. But there's 3 releases a year. If I design something in 2010, it's not working today if I didn't do some maintenance. So I think in the managed service world, it's not just keeping the lights on. If we kept things at the steady pace from what was developed a few years ago, it frankly wouldn't work the way we wanted it to work today. So for us, it's imperative that we have a partner that's going through every one of those releases. We're upgrading the flows or two flows. We're upgrading the underlying automations that are built into place to make sure that they still work today the way that we wanted them to work before.
This is very true. We've observed similar trends with a lot of our other customers as well. So, as you pointed out, Salesforce also, periodically deprecates a lot of functionality, uh, and so you really need to plan for those changes. Um, the more you postpone or kick that can down the line, um, I guess technical debt also tends to mount, and there's a time when you have to pay off, and so trying to stay ahead of the curve, uh, yeah, that really makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and truly, that's one of the biggest things that we had to do when I first got here, was to work with Solunus, go back to the drawing board. So we needed to go back, look at core business process, and then the managed service team that we worked with in Solunus helped us to then build the best approach overall to satisfy that business need. But there was a lot of rebuilding again because nobody had really built this by design in the first place. So there was a lot of things just thrown in, and Solunus helped us go ahead and go and not only upgrade all of those old best practices have since fallen by the wayside to today's world, but also streamline the entire system overall. truly, that's one of the biggest things that we had to do when I first got here, was to work with Solunus, go back to the drawing board. So we needed to go back, look at core business process, and then the managed service team that we worked with in Solunus helped us to then build the best approach overall to satisfy that business need. But there was a lot of rebuilding, again, because nobody had really built this by design in the first place. So there was a lot of things just thrown in, and Solunus helped us go ahead and go and not only upgrade all of those old best practices have since fallen by the wayside to today's world, but also streamline the entire system overall.
Okay. So, are you speaking specifically around? I know the team did a lot of work around rebuilding all the workflows and some of the things with Process Builder. The business models that were built using Process Builder, and doing it
Yeah.
currently with the flows. So I think some of what you just spoke to alludes to that. And
Yeah, exactly. So we when I came into ECI, there's some pluses and minuses. There always are. But the good thing is they hadn't gone crazy with Apex code, so we didn't have a ton of technical debt there. We did have over 400 workflows
wow,
that nobody really knew what they all did. And so that was, and process builders that I don't even remember the count, but there was a lot of those. So my first day was, okay, we can't manage this. Nobody knows why these are changing. We need to go in from the drawing board, go back and redesign those. And then once we had those specifications, and it was a lot of work going through each one of those flows or each of those workflows, Solunus did a great job of diagramming those out in Excel and such, so that we could then go right through them and go, okay, these are all the ones we just need to throw out, and then these are all the ones we need to refactor into actual flows. So that was a lot of the work that was done. Some other things that they helped with was opportunity record types. For instance, we had 30 or 35 record types that were not being used, or they were used sporadically. And we simplified that down. Honestly, we don't have a complicated business. We could have done one, but it made sense to the business that we had one for each division. So we've at least gone to 6, and that was a huge project that I'm happy to say went off without any problem. And anybody that knows Salesforce, that's the core object. Like there's
no, thank you for sharing that experience. Yes, we talk about these in terms of technical debt, and so a lot of times, some of my other IT partners with some of our other accounts have trouble. I guess it's challenging to explain, how you pay off technical debt and what is the business benefit, that comes out of this, right? So, can you share anything in terms of outcomes, whether it's agility or what kind of flexibility?
Yeah, so it's a tough argument, right? Because you've got to prove that the worth is there. It's easy to do in retrospect because I can point folks back to these are all the things you had to do before. But I think for us, there were so many questions on the sales side of things. It's really slowed sales down. It slowed everybody down, but sales in particular, in that there were several things they knew they had to check this box, but nobody knew and understood why. And if things broke, then there was a checklist of, did you check all these boxes, or did you put this in the pick list value? Nobody knew why. It wasn't used in reporting. It wasn't actually controlling anything that aligned to business practice or business process. It was just defunct workflow rules and such that had been added. So the sell for me to go into the business and sell this was, we're not capturing the amount of time that's wasted in sales. So now that as a salesperson, I can go in and with one click create a new opportunity, and with 3 clicks actually have it created. It's a time savings that's
Absolutely.
it's a matter.
In terms of your plans for 2023, can you speak to anything that's on your roadmap? Your priorities, anything from a Salesforce perspective that's helping you get
Yes.
there?
So for 2023, a big push is to sell our to do cross sell. So we have 6 divisions, and we have a lot of products that could be sold into multiple. They're more of an add-on package, and the big push is to do the kind of white paper, the white space reporting, and figure out what companies are we selling to in one division that could use this product, and really saturating our existing database with that opportunity. Right now, we do a terrible job of that. So a lot of that comes with CRMA reporting, which is being helped with Solunus as well to build those reports and figure out where are those white space opportunities.
So, can you speak a little to the engagement model itself, right? Some managed services, but is it just, something's not working, it's broke, fix, or, how what is the typical?
This is probably the best arrangement I've worked with consulting managed services, because we really work together as more of a staff augmentation almost, where we have a stand-up meeting every day, and we go through and we're really working on everything together, rather than it's not just a approach of give you a wish list, here's the things we need, go build them. It's an interactive
So there's a
process.
true partnership.
It's a true partnership, and a true not just, I don't have to just come up with the requirements. I can actually go with, here's our business problem. I need some ideas, because I've been doing this a long time, but I certainly don't know every process and everything that we could possibly do. So it's been a great model where we've had, like I said, more of a staff augmentation, where we were able to bring our internal and external teams together, and they're working together, not just passing work off to one another.
Thank you. Definitely appreciate those sentiments. Uh, Thank you, Michael. I really appreciate your taking the time again, and look forward to enriching our partnership in the coming years as well.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it.